Hey, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Think Business. Looking forward to talking to Lauren Schieffer. Lauren, it is great to see you, the Colonel's daughter. I'm looking forward to jumping in about all of that. Your passion is helping organizations build their next generation of leaders using your 9 essentials of significant leadership. And I know that your dad has been a huge influence on you. And so kind of tell us a little bit about the Colonel's daughter.
So my father was a lieutenant colonel in the United States Air Force, and he was truly a significant leader. Just about everything that I know, I think, I believe, I teach, I stand on, I learned either directly from my father or from other significant leaders I had the privilege of knowing and learning from because of who my father was and what he did for the Air Force. So I have steeped those lessons into my 9 essentials of significant leadership and also my book series called Kernels of Wisdom.
Yeah, I love it. So let's talk about that. My dad was in the Air Force. I don't know if we talked about, I think we may have talked about that.
Yeah.
And so, as you reflect on things, and I know you're an author and all of this in your books, but what's the first thing that comes to the surface when you think about some of your dad's teachings to you?
The concept of respect and the difference between respect for someone and respect to someone. Dad said, you don't have to respect everyone, Lauren Ann. You have no right to disrespect anyone, young lady. And therefore, I don't have to respect someone in order to make a daily decision to treat them with respect.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And the other is the difference between success and significance.
Mm-hmm.
Success is about me and about my title and how much money I make and where my parking spot is and all of those trappings. Significance is more outwardly focused. Significance is about we. It's about how many lives I touch and the manner in which I choose to impact them, because how we impact others is a choice.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Your dad had so much wisdom. Talk a little bit about not just the words, but the energy behind his wisdom, right? The intuitive energy behind it and what it kind of, how it came from what he learned in his lineage.
I think the energy behind everything that Dad did with regard to his leadership was helping others grow first. And a lot of that came from the mentors that he had in his life. Dad came from a really, really dirt poor family of potato farmers in Idaho. He was the only son out of 14 children.
Wow.
And he decided at 13 that he had had enough. And so at 13 years of age, he left home. And he threshed wheat for a while. And the crews took him in and taught him and helped him grow. And then he logged for a while, and the crews took him in and taught him and helped him grow. And when he decided that he needed to go home, there was no room for him in the family home. And so his uncle Haslett took him in and taught him and helped him grow. And he carried those lessons of helping others grow to their fullest potential into and through his adulthood, right up to the day he died. That was his primary focus.
It's so crazy to me. I mean, at 13, leaving home, I mean, it's so hard to comprehend. And I think in today, wow, that's amazing. But what fortitude he must have had and sense of self to be able to do something like that.
He was a very powerful presence. His personality entered the room 5 minutes before he did. And his size didn't hurt either. He was 6'6.5" and 285 pounds on his very leanest day.
Yeah. Okay. So define leadership. The world is so different today than it was, back when he was 13 in a post-COVID world, in a hybrid world, and define leadership. But I think a lot of the things of leadership have always stayed intact. But define leadership today from your perspective, as the colonel's daughter and as the colonel.
So I think the generic hierarchical model of leadership that was dominant in the 19th and the 20th centuries, the concept of because I said so.
Yeah.
Well, first off, that was never, I won't say never. It was rarely the way my father approached things. Very rarely the way my father approached things. But that model of leadership is failing today's workforce.
Yeah.
I think that significant leadership is servant leadership, but it takes it one step further. And again, focuses on another person's growth first in a more unique and customized manner.
Yeah.
The leaders that will take the 20th century into the next 50 years have to recognize that every individual of their workforce is unique and needs to approach their own productivity in their own way. The generations that are now dominant in the workplace, which are millennials and Gen Zs, expect that. They expect to be productive on their own terms, and to lead them effectively, we have to recognize that and help each individual grow toward their potential on their own terms, not plug them into some cut and paste leadership development program. It's just not going to work.
It's so interesting. And I agree with you. It's, you're talking about, helping others, right? That's kind of a through line for your dad. It sounds like for you, it is for me, right? We're in the business of helping people. But when you're really in the business of helping people, it is a unique one-by-one process. And so, but yet it sounds so simple, it's complicated. And I think
simple is rarely easy.
Correct. Right. And I think so many companies, are trying to, and or don't even know how to. And I think it starts with great managers. I think it starts with great leadership and great vision. And then there's, the managers can make it or break it.
But there's a real difference between managers and leaders.
Okay, that was going to be what I was just going to say. So good. We're on the same. So talk to that. Yeah. No. You're right. Yes. I don't need to finish my thought. No, that's good. Tell me.
So
go on.
So I have met many managers throughout my career, all of my careers, that are in no way leaders. And I've also met people who are not in management. They don't have the title, that are tremendous leaders in their organization. Managers are about doing the right thing. No, managers are about doing things right. Leaders are about doing the right thing. Managers are about building numbers and productivity. Leaders are about building people. It's just a real difference, whether you have employees or whether you have followers. Whether you command and dictate or encourage and empower. It's just a difference in mindset.
Yeah. I agree.
But I also want to clarify that I believe that the workforce needs both management and leadership. Most leaders that I have met can manage. Not all managers that I've met are leaders.
I would agree. So I love everything that you're sharing. What's the what's the best piece of wisdom that you've ever received, not from your father?
The late, great Mary Kay Ash, who was the founder and chairman emeritus of Mary Kay Cosmetics. I had the privilege of learning from Mary Kay Ash. And although this may not have been original to her, I'm not sure. She is the first person that I ever heard it from, and therefore I attribute it in my mind and heart to her. Mary Kay said, all that you send into the lives of others comes back into your own.
Mm-hmm.
And every human being has an invisible sign hanging around their neck. And that sign says, make me feel important.
Yeah.
Read the sign.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good one. That's a really good one. You have such an interesting story, and your story, it almost feels a little bit like a beautiful tribute and contribution and continuation of your father's story a little bit. And so talk about maybe a little bit about how you put your own voice into your father's voice.
Well, first off, if we are perfectly honest, I'm not sure how crazy Dad would have been about my channeling him as my brand. That probably would have made him just a little uncomfortable, because he would have perceived it as putting him on a pedestal that he didn't ever ask to be on.
Yeah.
Dad was a very human being. And I recognize and acknowledge that. Lots of times there are lessons that I've learned from other people that I've thought, Dad never said that to me exactly in that way, but he would have agreed with that. Yeah. And so I incorporate that. My 9 essentials of significant leadership did not come from my dad.
All right. So let's talk about a couple of those.
Okay. The core tenets did, but never in this format. Mm-hmm. So let's start with the top 3. And I kind of feel like these have to come in order. So the number 1 essential is understand your own value. That means that you have to have a solid self-esteem. You have to know that you have value as a human being because you exist and are therefore worthy of merit. That value doesn't come from who you are or from who your parents are or what your title is or how much money you have. Every human being has value because they exist. You have to have a solid sense of self-esteem. So the number 1 is understand your own value. And the reason that's number 1 is because number 2 is treat all people with respect.
Yeah.
We can't treat others with respect if we don't respect ourselves.
Yeah.
So the second essential is treat all people with respect, whether or not you like what they think, say, or do. And that goes back to what I mentioned before. There are many people that I have met in my life, people who I have to deal with on a daily basis, who shall remain nameless, people I've observed that I can in no way respect. Now, for whatever reason, maybe it's the choices that they make or the words they choose or their behaviors or our differing ethics. It doesn't matter. I can in no way respect them. But they would probably never know that because I make a daily choice to treat them with respect, whether or not I like what they think, say, or do. So that's number 1 and number 2. Number 3 is act with integrity at all times. Your integrity speaks to your character, which helps define your credibility in every avenue of your life. So those are the first 3.
Yeah, I love that. I want to save 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 for people to buy your book, and then maybe end with 9, right? Because I think those 3, I always like kind of giving a little carrot, because getting people kind of in the door. But what's number 9?
Number 9 is work for your replacement.
It's so important. So many people do not do that.
A leader's number 1 job is to replace themselves.
Yeah, 100%. Right. No, I love that. I love that. All right. This has been great. Appreciate Lou Diamond introducing us.
Likewise.
Lauren, quick speed round for you. Okay. What is a book that's had the biggest impact on you?
Fiction or nonfiction?
Whatever you want. No rules.
Okay. Fiction, by all means, it was the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan. Nonfiction, Barry Banther's The Right to Lead. Phenomenal book.
All right, good. And finish this sentence. One thing everybody can do to step into their own next level of leadership is
help others grow first.
Define yourself in one word.
Sunshine.
That's a good one. And last question. Fast forward 100 years, what do you want your legacy to be?
I want to be seen as one of the foremost authorities on significant leadership.
I love it. Lauren, I appreciate you. I appreciate the energy of your father that you bring to what you do and this conversation. I love the idea of, think community. I'm a business coach. I work with successful people who are stuck. I get them unstuck. And what I love about this podcast is I talk to guests who can also assist in my mission of getting you unstuck. And I just want to highlight something that you shared today about, help people and know that everyone is unique. Mm-hmm. And I think that is something that really will kind of unstuck people's patterns of things and help them grow. So I appreciate everything that you shared today. Tell everybody where they can connect with you and buy your book.
They can find me on my website, laurenschieffer.com. They can buy the book there. They could also get all my books there. They can get all my books on Amazon. If you order them from Amazon, they'll come faster. If you order them from the website, they'll come signed.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, good. Yeah. All right, good. Well, Lauren, it was a pleasure having you. Think Community, thank you so much. Everybody have an awesome day. And thanks so much for taking time, Lauren. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.